State, you may call your next witness.
Junella Uadan.
Ma'am, good morning. If you could take a seat, state your name and spell it for the record, please.
First name is Junella, Junella. Last name is Uadan, U-A-D as in Delta, A-N.
May it please the court?
You may proceed, sir.
Where do you work, ma'am?
I'm currently employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office here in Orlando, Florida.
And what does Sheriff Mina currently having you do?
I'm currently, my current position is a digital forensic examiner.
And how long have you held that position?
I just hit 6 years.
And can you tell us about, and we're going to break it down, education, training, and experience. Let's just talk about your education. What's your educational background prior to becoming a law enforcement officer? In particular, what is relevant to being a digital forensic examiner?
I actually started in crime scene investigations with the Sheriff's Office. So I have a bachelor's in forensic science through the University of Central Florida. Upon transferring over to our digital forensics unit, I became a certified computer forensic examiner through the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists.
That's IACIS?
ISIS, yes.
And can we call it ISIS?
Yes.
How do you say it?
IASIS.
IASIS. All right. I just want to shorten it for today.
Yes.
All right, so IASIS. Tell us about that program that you went through with IASIS to become a digital forensics examiner.
Yes, the beginning portion of it is in classroom training. It's normally only hosted in 2 different locations around the world, one being here in Orlando, the other one normally being somewhere over in Europe. They actually just expanded a 3rd location over in Australia. So again, the first 2 weeks are in classroom training, normally with over 300 other students. And then the next 5 to 6 months are all a peer review type training where they give you problem sets on how to, it goes from basic education on computer forensics to how to recover data. Could be pictures, could be videos. You're not sure until you pass one step to move on to the next one to figure out what you're, essentially what kind of questions you're going to get.
All right. We'll take a break from the education training experience for 1 second. On February 23rd, 2020, were you called out to a scene?
Yes.
And does that happen from time to time as a digital forensic examiner as opposed to your previous duties like a CSI, which would always go to the scene?
Yes, as a digital forensic examiner, we are required to come out on scenes if requested.
May I approach the witness with E for identification?
You may.
Showing you E for identification, you recognize states E for identification?
Yes.
And how is it that you recognize that?
I recognize the front label or the portion filled out on the envelope with my handwriting, as well as evidence tape sealed, also initialed with my initials.
And the information on it includes like your case number and some of the other information you just answered?
Yes, case number, date of collection, and the item description.
And what is said to be contained inside of that envelope?
An Apple iPhone Model XS with a pink case.
All right, and if I am not incorrect, I believe there's 2 sets of evidence tape on that item?
Yes.
Can you tell us about each set?
The first set, which is the red tape here, initially when I collect or sometimes when we receive items from crime scene investigators, The packaging necessarily doesn't have to be sealed, just because the phone might have to be kept charged on prior to us receiving the phone. So in this case, I did collect the item from the residence. I brought it back to our office. And then once I was done with my exam, it later gets sealed, again with my initials and dates. And if there's a later on an evidence review, or somebody needs to review the item again, if we need to do an additional examination, the package might be reopened and then resealed again, hence the blue tape here at the bottom.
All right, other than the blue tape, is that item and the packaging substantially in the same condition when you were done examining what is said to be contained inside?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
If you would, could you open up this package and, without showing it to the jury at this point, see if you recognize what's inside of the envelope?
Yes, there's a phone with a pink case inside.
Do you recognize that as the item that you collected from the scene that you went to on February 23rd, 2020, and then later examined?
Yes. All
right. So, this scene, February 23rd, 2020, where is this scene?
I believe it's 4740, or can I refer to my report for the address or to the numerical?
If it would refresh your memory.
Yes.
Go ahead, and then when you're done refreshing your memory, let us know if your memory was refreshed.
Yes.
Your memory refreshed.
Yes.
What is your answer?
4748 Franz, not sure if I'm saying that correct, court, apartment number 3.
Now, I know you work for the Sheriff's Office in Orange County, but I still need to ask, is this in Orange County, Florida?
Yes.
All right. Now, you collected that item. May I move E for identification and evidence at this time?
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as E will be received into evidence without objection. The state 16.
Did you do anything with that item while you were on scene?
Yes.
What is it that you did with that item while you were on scene?
I was requested to come out. I was informed from the detectives that the user of the device gave consent for us to download her phone. So I responded out, and once I located the phone, I immediately started to extract the data from the phone.
All right. So now let's talk about what tools you used to do that. I assume there's some software involved with this process.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your familiarity and the training that you had in regards to using that software back in the time of February 2020?
Yes. One of the main tools that we use for data extraction is called Cellbrite. I did obtain, again, transitioning to our digital forensics unit, I obtained 2 certificates with Cellbrite, which is an operator certificate knowing how to operate the hardware and the extraction software, as well as a certificate in their physical analyzer software, which is more used for the analysis part. So once we download the phone, we get a digital file, which to us is a lot of data, which humans, we can't read. So their software basically makes it more readable for us humans, which we can then generate a report in different formats for review. So in this case, we used Cellbrite. They actually started to develop software for cell phone companies. So if you remember back in the day when you went to go upgrade your phone and you had to go into a brick and mortar store, they actually had the software to help transfer your old data from your old phone and transfer it to your new phone, like your contacts, your pictures, your videos, a lot of the data that you didn't want to lose when upgrading your phone. But they are now a predominantly digital forensics company, and they provide the software that we use to extract data off of digital devices.
And is there any hardware involved to use this software?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes, in this case, and especially at that time, we had 2 options. There was a portable tablet, In this case, you can still use a computer, and they have sister software that mirrors the exact same software that's on the portable tablet. So in this case, I had my call-out laptop with the extraction software installed on it, and just like you would to connect your phone to, let's say, your computer to export photos or take photos off of your phone if you want to save them, we're doing essentially the exact same thing in the field where we're connecting it to our computer, and we're letting the software pull all that data or the contents off of that phone.
When you were told that you had Miss Boone's password to her phone device, do you do anything to try and make sure that the data cannot be manipulated or destroyed from the outside world?
Yes, it's standard protocol. Like once we receive a phone, hopefully somebody did it before it's handed to us. But again, if we're responding out to the scene or we're the only ones that are interacting with the phone, we for sure try to, if we are given a passcode, we try to confirm the passcode. And then the phone is immediately put into airplane mode, which will disconnect it from any outside network. And we also try to ensure, because not always, once you place your phone into airplane mode, it doesn't always turn off your Bluetooth and or Wi-Fi connections. So we may go in and make sure that those settings are also disabled before we extract the data.
All right. Take us through this extraction process. I understand that there are many different levels of information that you can get depending on a lot of things that you'll tell us about. Can you tell us the level of extraction you were able to do on site with this cellular phone device?
Yes, for this specific phone, we were trying to minimally get the user data, again, the stuff that you guys can see when you're looking through your phone, your calls, your messages, your pictures, your videos. And in this case, that's the level of support that the on-scene software that we're able to use is able to download from the phone, especially with having a password or passcode.
All right. So I think we're all familiar with Windows. I think Mac has its own special iOS operating system as well. Can you tell us about the operating system that was on this particular cellular phone device?
Yes, Apple has its own operating system, iOS if you have an iPhone, and of course, even if you have Android or Apple, you're constantly getting notifications saying it's time to update your phone to the newest software. So in this case, it's an iPhone, so it's running their shortened version of iOS.
Can you also extract data that has been quote-unquote deleted from the operating system? And can you just tell us all about that?
Yes, it is sometimes a possibility. It's not always guaranteed, but we sometimes have more advanced tools that can potentially pull that data from the device, and then later, once we get that download, we can put it into that software, and normally will give us indications on whether or not data has been deleted.
And so if a particular photograph or a Word document or some sort of file has been deleted from the operating system, may it still remain on the phone device or computer device?
Yes.
It may still be locatable with your software tools.
That is the hope. Again, not always guaranteed, but again, that's why we're trying to go in there and look for that the data behind the scenes to see if we can recover those artifacts. Yes.
Did you later do another extraction of this phone device back in the office?
Yes.
And tell us if it is different in any way, how your software or hardware was different in doing it at the office.
Yes, in this case, we use, again, a more advanced tool, which is able to capture, the technical term is a full file system. So we're capturing that whole filing cabinet, you would say, of the data stored on the phone, with, again, the probability to not only collect possibly deleted data, but also your system's information, application data, like your social media, messaging apps, everything aside from your normal user data, like your calls and messages and pictures and videos.
And what level of capture, and if you answered it in that, I'm sorry, what level of capture were you able to do?
Again, in this case, I was able to do the full file system back at the office. On scene, the technical term is an advanced logical or logical extraction, again, which encompasses your generic user data on your phone.
And the level of extraction you did at the office, does that encompass data that is outside of the operating system or in unallocated space?
It can include that data, yes.
Okay. Now, what kind of information can be generated by this computer software tool that you used to make it presentable for a human such as yourself or the members of the jury to review?
Yeah, in the software, it will place the data in data categories. So it's organized. We can, if we just want to search between messages, we can go in the messages category. If we want to look at logs, like maybe data that your phone's recording, like locations, app activity, that's also presented in its own data category. And it also has the ability to put all that data in chronological order in what they refer to as a timeline. So we can also see all that ongoing data in the timeline section. And if we need to, we can either narrow down to a small scope of time, or if it's requested, we can give all the data, all in that timeline to whoever wants to review it.
And for instance, if there's an entry on the timeline that says, April 1st, 2016, photograph ABC was taken, are there separate folders that are generated by this software tool that has all the images, such as that still photograph, generated?
Yes, when we export it or generate like in a PDF version of that report, all that data is categorized in a PDF, but it also exports a copy of that same data, such as images and videos, in separate subfolders. So if I just wanted to go look at the pictures from the phone directly, I could just go into that subfolder and just look at all thousands of images that might be exported from the phone.
And is there identifying information such as an IMEI that is generated by this software tool? And can you tell us what these things are?
Yes, the IMEI is one identifier that your cell phone has to help authenticate it to your cell phone network. It also is like a serial number unique to your phone. And in this case, our software is able to read and report all those device identifiers from your phone, including an IMEI.
And do you take actual photographs of the cellular phone device, like the exhibit we just put into evidence, to document it before or after you do the extraction?
Yes, just like in crime scene, a cell phone digital evidence is essentially another form of evidence. So we always try to document the current state, condition, whether it's locked, unlocked, and if we, again, in this case, we were provided a passcode, so I normally like to photographically document the phone's identifiers or accounts that may be logged into the phone.
Prior to trial, were you asked to look at two different exhibits to see if they represented a portion of that timeline you described that can be put into the PDF report form, as well as some of the images and videos from this extraction that you performed on the device that's in evidence?
Yes.
May I approach?
You may.
What I'm showing you first is O for identification. Did you have an opportunity to review that this morning to make sure that the portion of the PDF and the images in a separate folder there were part of the extraction that you did on this device that we're talking about?
Yes.
And was that accurate?
Yes.
P for identification, is that another carve out of the PDF timeline as well as videos and photographs from that device?
Yes.
All right, this time the state will move O for identification into evidence and reserve on P.
With regard to states O.
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as states O will be received into evidence without objection as state 17.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Opening up the file labeled extraction. Guess we don't get that monitor. All right, so sorry about your neck. Looking at entry 31079, can we just go column through column and explain what we're looking at?
Yes, the first column normally is just an assigned number, just like a line item number for the report, because again, this is an excerpt. There could be thousands and thousands of line items when you're looking at the entire timeline. So the far left-hand column is just a line item number, followed by again, the data category for whatever data you're looking at. In this case, there's a couple listed as application usage and then location data.
Let's talk about the column that has dates and times, and can you explain to us what UTC -5 means?
Yes. Another column, again, we're looking this at a timeline, so we want to know dates and times. So we'll include the date and time of the data that was recorded onto the phone. And this report was adjusted for our local Eastern Standard Time here in Orlando, Florida, so UTC -5.
And going up to the top line there, 31075, that indicates that there's a start time for the application com.apple.camera, and then going back to our original one, 31079, that's the end time. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes, so Apple is very good about recording activity on the directly from your device. When you open up a certain application, such as the camera, Apple is making note that you, in this case, it's indicating a start time. So you opened up your camera at 10:21:36 p.m. And then you stopped using it, maybe closed it out or stopped recording at 10:21:38 p.m.
And in this portion of the PDF timeline, there does not appear to have been any videos or photographs captured while the camera was open. Is that accurate?
Based on that excerpt, I don't see a recorded media file.
All right. In the surrounding entries, can we just talk about what I would unfairly probably call spam of locations? What is going on there?
Again, if there's usage, application usage, or you're just in a really good location, or your device is just set to record locations wherever you are, your phone is also recording that data as well. And in some cases, like, again, your phone, if you have it set for your camera to record your location when you take a picture, again, like when you reopen that picture, it'll show you, hey, you were located at 2500 West Colonial Drive. That's that data that's being recorded in the background while you're using that application that it might have that permission to record that data.
Can we just go column by column through the first entry here, 16498? What does instant messages mean?
That's referencing text messages.
Second column, outgoing. Does that indicate there's an outgoing communication?
Yes, it'll reflect outgoing or incoming depending on the recipient or sender.
The next column, there's a 1. What does that mean?
That just might be like one entry, one message. I don't see the header for the columns. That one I'm not unsure of.
All right, and the date and time we've already explained. Let's talk about the from, owner, and then the participants. What does this all mean?
So the from section, again, if we're looking at the first row of data, it's indicative that it's a text message because the sender, it's listing the phone number being used to send that message. And then for iPhone devices specifically, if you're communicating with another Apple device, it may also list the phone number as well as your backup, which is your Apple ID. So if it can't transmit that message through your phone number, it might default to your iCloud account. And in this case, it's listing both.
All right, and if, for instance, the outgoing recipient or the incoming sender of the text message is in the contacts, would it show up with the person's name, such as Wancho?
Yes, our software will display your contact name as how you save it.
And if there's no contact name, it would just show the phone number?
Phone number or, again, Apple, your iCloud account.
Videos, 16499, capture time, what does that indicate?
So that is when the video, in this case, it looks like a video is captured on the device.
Let's specifically talk about entry 16520. Again, we've discussed that's an instant message and it's incoming rather than outgoing. So that means it came to this phone device.
Yes.
And over to the right of the date and time, which would have been 6:07 p.m. 30 seconds on Christmas 2019, it indicates that it's from a contact named Mo. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Then the contents speak for itself. Going down to 16522, an outgoing instant message at 11:31 p.m. 57 seconds on Christmas 2019. What is the content of that communication?
The content of the message is hide and seek, I shall.
Turning down to 17167, it's an instant message that indicates it's outgoing from this device on January 13th, 2020, 5:01 p.m. 41 seconds, and it's from what is paren owner. Does that mean it's from the device?
Yes.
What's the content of that text message?
Sorry, what was the line item number?
17167.
And bless you and all of you too, I'll get rid of him.
Then the next three are also outgoing messages. What do they indicate as far as content?
Starting with 17168, then I'll be better, followed by 17169, ugh, and 17170, Torres.
Turning now to entry 31103, which is on page 49 of the 59-page PDF. Again, it looks like what we talked about before, the com.camera application gets opened up to be used at 11:12 p.m. 40 seconds. Is that what this data reflects?
Yes.
And then at entry 31107, a video that ends up being captured as IMG_1062.MOV begins at 11:12 p.m. 45 seconds on February 23rd, 2020. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And then there does not seem to be any intervening closing of the camera application before we get to 31113.
In that portion, I don't see that information.
And then at 11:23 p.m. 03 seconds on February 23rd, 2020, in entry 31113, a second movie is generated by this device labeled IMG_1063.MOV.
Yes.
I'm going to continue publishing from this exhibit.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you. Fuck you. Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
That's on you.
Sarah.
Real ransom. I want to give it for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah.
Real ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah.
Fuck you.
Fucking breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut the fuck up.
Sarah.
For the record, that was IMG_1062.MOV, now publishing 1063, same respective file name.
Sarah.
No other questions of this witness?
Any cross-examination?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I believe you stated on direct that you were called to the scene and you were asked to do your analysis out there. Is that correct?
At least a download.
Download. What type of phone was this?
An Apple iPhone XS.
And how were you able to get into the phone, for lack of a better word?
I was provided with the phone's passcode.
Okay. With an Apple phone, without being given that passcode, are you able to get in an Apple phone?
Maybe not necessarily unlock the phone, even though that is an option through some of our advanced tools that is supported. but it can have the ability to download the phone even in a locked state and pull 85% of that data.
Is it a much easier process when you have the code?
It's quicker, yes.
And how were you provided that code?
I believe either through Detective Copsell or Connolly at the time, or I may have asked Ms. Boone just to reconfirm the passcode.
And did she give you the passcode?
Yes, somebody did, yes.
Now, on the first exhibit that went up, or when you're talking about the communications or the identifying factors of the phone, one of the things that were identified is dates and times. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Also, you said it would tell you if the source was incoming or outgoing. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And then you said it would identify, it could identify either by phone number or name. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. On the examples that you gave us, who was the identifying name as to the outgoing on this phone?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Who was the identifying name for the outgoing text or calls on this phone?
I think in some of the line items that were shown above, it was just listed as a phone number.
Was there ever a name listed?
A physical name, possibly in other line items, but in this, and again, in those excerpts, it's just by phone number.
Okay. Did you ever see the name Brian Boone?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you see the name Brian Boone?
I believe in one of the iCloud or accounts that was logged into the phone, there was an associated email address.
Okay. Taking that, was it any other place where you would see in a different name as to the outgoing, other than Brian Boone?
Again, there might have been other names listed in other portions of it. But again, in those excerpts, it was just either by phone number or, again, with the Apple iPhone listing, the iCloud account.
All right. Do you have a copy of the exhibit up there?
No, not on me.
Can we get that pulled up, please? Are you able to see that?
And no, this monitor is not working.
Ma'am, are you able to see that?
Yes.
There's a entry on 12/25/2019. Is that correct?
And are you referencing like the instant message row? Yes. Yes.
All right. Does it, as far as participants, what does that show you? What does it tell you?
So it's listing the owner in reference to we'll say the first phone number, 8684. It's referencing that phone number as well as the Gmail account or iCloud account associated with the phone, and then it's listing a physical name of Brian Boone.
Okay, so it's showing Brian Boone as being the owner of the phone. Is that correct?
For that phone number and or one of the participants in that message conversation.
Did you recall seeing any other name associated with that phone number other than Brian Boone?
I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
All right, when you did the analysis of this, and you would look for the participants and get that information, match it up with the phone number. Then in certain cases, they will show you the owner name because you said Apple is very detailed in some of their
Yes.
applications. So did you ever see another name associated with this account other than Brian Boone?
There was another iCloud account logged in on the physical phone.
Okay,
There was no name attached.
there was no name attached.
Bless you.
Now, when you're identifying these sources as being either outgoing or incoming sources, and is that basically telling you what device is being used?
No, it's not indicative of a specific device other than we know outgoing. Obviously the source is the phone that we extracted that data from. In incoming messages, it does not let us know if the message was made through a Samsung Galaxy or another iPhone.
Okay. What identifying information do you get at that time?
In regards to receiving a message,
Yes.
in this case, or what's displayed there, it's going to give us the content of the message. It's going to give us the date and time that the message was sent or received. And again, like in your phone, it does depict either through a small notification arrows indicating ingoing or outgoing. So it's just displaying that version in text up there.
Okay. And then from there, it's basically telling you the number that it came from. Is that correct?
Yes, like in reference to that top row, it's saying that that message came from that phone number. Again, the top line item, last 4 digits is 8684. And then it's also listing the message participants.
It's not telling you the person who sent the message, is it?
Correct, just that it's originating from a phone number.
So if 2 people or more people had access to a phone, you wouldn't, from this information, you wouldn't be able to tell who actually sent the message on any given time. Is that correct?
No, I'm not a fly on the wall and I can't see who's physically typing out messages.
Thank you, ma'am. No further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Other than just your subjective interpretation given the context of conversations.
Yes.
And if photographs or videos are taken during these conversations, that could be indicative of who is behind the phone device as well.
Based on sound and visuals, it does help.
Thank you.
Can this witness be released?
As far as the state is concerned, yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, you're released. Thank you very much.
Thank you.